Joella.
We are, so our House leadership tomorrow, the LCC met and they approved all the interim committees, so we're meeting tomorrow to do our assignments. Assuming we have all of, like, how many we get from the Democratic caucus, because sometimes the interims aren't always the same size, so we'll be making our assignments for those. There are a variety this year. They have tried to pare it back a little bit because it was getting out of control of how many interim committees we were having, which costs more money because we're out of session, and so they pay us to come, and we're like, let's try to hone in on what we really need. But the couple that I'm interested in, based on my committee work, and would be the motor vehicle modernization, which our counties are really struggling to keep up with doing our registrations and driver's licenses, and with all the personalized license plate and all the things they have to do. Well, we really need to take a hard look at how we're funding them and making sure they can meet those needs, because we had this debate in transportation about having this fee, and we don't want to increase it by a couple dollars. And I said, well, honestly, if people are having to wait for hours, the fee is less expensive than their lost wages. So let's take a harder look at this. We did do some temporary relief for our counties right now, but we need to kind of long-term plan for that. And there's also going to be a protecting kids online type discussion happening. So I'm pretty interested in that. My son's going to be a freshman, and I feel like I have some experience now parenting of what kids started from babies with iPhones growing on up, and just some of the things that we've encountered. But what about you, Susan? Are you looking at it?
I'm pulling up the
list. There's
the list.
There's maybe a dozen or so.
There's quite a few.
And this week I'm heading. I'm going to attend
Can't see the list anymore.
Let me pull it up.
I think I probably have. Oh, that's. But I'm gonna be going to the DLCC Democrat Legislative Coordinating Group for the all the states. I have not attended that before, since I'm the fundraising chair for our caucus. I'm going to be attending with Brandon Woodard, our minority leader, and looking forward to seeing kind of how that goes and what support we can bring here to Kansas, because our candidates are working really hard. We've got some folks even in areas where you wouldn't expect that they're raising real dollars. They're going to be able to send mail, do digital. So it's really exciting, and it's going to be fun to see what national support we can bring here to Kansas to get us finally over what we need to break the supermajority.
Terrible.
Yep. And then we are doing a family vacation to Colorado, which I've been watching. There's the Willow fires out there right by Leadville, where we're going to go. And then there's going to be another, like the Aspen fire. So Colorado's really having a rough go this summer. Keeping an eye on that. And
Royal Gorge, if you don't get a chance to go to Leadville.
What is it?
Royal Gorge.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're going to get to go. It's just, we got to check the air quality before we just make the final
I do
decision.
have a list if you want to hear.
Yeah, I do want to hear.
Okay. Administrative rules and regulation, child welfare oversight, corrections, juvenile justice, fiduciary, financial institutions oversight, community-based services, care, information technology, Kansas security, legislative budget, pensions, investment and benefits, special claims against the state building construction. I think all of those are really statutory.
Yeah, those are the standing ones.
Then we've got the Education Funding Task Force, Water Program Task Force, Committee for Kansas Highway Patrol Capital Improvement Projects, Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications, Board of Emergency Medical Services, Sexually Violent Predator Treatment Program Reform, Statewide Trade Licensing, Vehicle Services Modernization Task Force, Application and Eligibility for Public Assistance Programs, 340B Program, State Fire Code, Protecting Children from Online Harm, and then there's another state budget. One's
like the LBC, and then one's the state. Yeah,
one is a budget, and one is just really it's those three. So it's a total of 67 days, but I think the list was over 100. like it was like 130 days. It was ridiculous.
There are like 4 or 5 of those committees that I said yes to, to wherever you want to put me.
We will be putting you somewhere.
I know there's one, that's gonna be looking how the community-based, mental health centers their funding. And it's gonna be, that's the Bob Bethel Committee. We're gonna meet mid-August. And I think the day before is this committee that's just gonna meet just to look at the funding, for that. So, I think I'll be on that committee. And then we'll see what other committees pop up. But right now, I'm only on the Bob Bethel. I've been talking to folks about why I'm not on the Child Welfare Oversight Committee anymore. I asked to come off of that. I was first placed on that when I was first elected, and I was on the Child Welfare Regular Committee. And it was the Children and Senior Services Committee at that point, and that was the first committee that I had asked to be on, so I was on that. And then when the Child Welfare Committee got put together, they asked me to be on that committee. But I'm not really in the child space anymore, and I'm not on a kids committee anymore. I'm on the Health and Human Services Committee. Although we deal with children, it's a broader kind of an umbrella. I was talking to Jared, who is the ranking member on that committee, the regular committee, and just saying, we really should replace me. It needs to be somebody else on that committee because there's overlap from the intercommittees into the regular committees, and I'm not there, to lend a hand in any way. So Ford Carr replaced me, and so he's already started on that committee, and I've received emails from parents who it wasn't that they were upset, but they didn't know why I wasn't on that committee anymore. So I've been slowly trying to get a hold of people and just let them know I'm not on that committee anymore.
On July 1st, this state, we opened the Office of Early Childhood, which was kind of 2 years really in the making, and Christy Smith is heading that. So everything that deals with early childhood, your licensing, child care, subsidies, all that is under one umbrella. They are all in the same office space so that they can do away with a lot of those silos. And really, even as I've been traveling this state, I was at a hospital who was able to build a child care facility. And really the issue is trying to find those providers. And they were like, we would love if our nurses who are taking advantage of it, and we also expanded a tax credit for this year so that the state would do 75%, like try to help boost more slots across the state. And this hospital was like, we would love, we would even pay like 100% of our childcare for our providers that are in the staff. But is there a way that we could help get our nurses licensed so that maybe one day a month, as part of them getting these benefits, they could help so that we have more capacity? So
Wow.
even being able to
That's
have
a
those conversations of like, okay, what are the requirements that they have to have for their licensure? And then, okay, how could we cross refer this? So it's been exciting talking to people across the state of how they are thinking outside of the box. And then going back and having conversations, and because they're all in this one spot now in the docking building, they're able to really talk about this. And I'm very excited for the work that they're doing in that space. What else?
Questions?
And relative to that subject, any insurance matters associated with child care?
So you're looking especially at in-home providers are looking because insurance companies are not always wanting to provide that liability insurance, or they're not able to get insured if they're having a spot in their home. So those are conversations. Actually, Senator Tory Blue from Great Bend in our the children's cabinet meeting, she was en route to Topeka, and so she was calling and she was asking this. And you're seeing that. We haven't seen as much in Kansas, but across the country, you're seeing that, which is also a barrier for. I mean, we're going to need centers. We're going to need at home. We need religious. Like, we need all of those things because of capacity, and that is one of those barriers to be able to have those conversations about it.
Yeah, I see even in our part of Lenexa, adult daycare centers.
But
Yeah.
no, insurance is getting harder and across the board.
I'm hoping that there's an interim committee right on the fire marshal.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And the governor did a task force as well, in addition to that
Okay.
committee.
I've not looked at to see what their concerns are, what they're going to try to tackle. But the adult care homes, there's some regulations, the fire marshal regulations, that also needs to be looked at. And not to cut corners, but to look at, really, do we need all those codes? I mean, because we need adult homes.
Well, even with childcare, like a lot of our, so after school care, like the Y and stuff, like they partner with schools. And so they're in a school building, from either in the morning or after school is out, so 3:30, and they have different standards. And that has been an issue that we've all dealt with because, and I'm like, okay, I don't care which one, but if the school is safe from 8 to 3:30, then why is it not safe from 7 to 8 or 3:30 to 5? Like, one of those things is not right.
Yeah, exactly. They're just crazy barriers that are
Yeah.
there that nobody's ever really
Looked at.
looked at or even brought it up as a barrier.
Yeah,
If you win, what happens to your Senate seat?
so I'm going to say when I win, the precinct people, Democratic precinct elected members in Senate District 21 will then vote. So I would have to resign, and then they have 2 weeks, I think, to call a special committee, and then the precinct people. And I will say, we have a very full precinct leaders. How many would we have?
Precinct leaders, we have 70% of them filled,
Yeah.
so it's over 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, some districts, like, it's 5 people,
Yeah.
but we have
Senate
really
21.
good. Yeah, we have worked really hard filling those vacancies, so it's the precinct. And then the Democrat would then fulfill the remaining of my 2 years, and then they would be on the ballot in 28 with the entire Senate. It would not be a special election.
Did you say somebody gets appointed?
So they get elected by Democratic precinct leaders.
So some people have to surface up to
Yeah.
say that they're interested, that they want to be elected.
Are you a registered Democrat? Are you a registered Democrat?
Nope.
Okay. So if you're a registered Democrat, you get to vote on your precinct leaders in August. It's coming up.
Right.
So you'll see, precinct committee man, precinct committee woman,
Mhm.
and there's somebody that lives in your neighborhood. Like you probably go past their house when you're
Yeah.
going into your driveway.
Do we have any in here that are precinct? That's it.
Yeah, I used
But
to.
that's how the precinct leaders of the party of the person who was elected then select that.
What happens to the minority leadership post?
That would be elected by the Senate caucus, the Democrats in the caucus.
Are there any Democrats running for U.S. Senate or governor that are traveling in 1 and 2 to get known?
I think all of our. So we have one Democratic senator who is running for U.S. Senate, and I don't know what he is doing. As I have been at different events, he has not been there. There are a lot of U.S. Senate Democrats that are at those events, talking to people, and then so Senator Corson and Senator Holster are the two Democratic senators who are running for governor. And they are traveling the state. They're not always at the same place, but their lieutenant governor candidates have been. So they are traveling and working
On the road show.
on the road show. Taking care of Air.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're all. So I was in Salina yesterday, and then like some people were at a couple events that I had there, and some others. So it's kind of mix and match, and we're all kind of doing our own thing. Like I will do some stuff with that, but then I'm also reaching out to other areas. Like I said, I'm talking to a lot of Republicans.
What other parts of the state are there a lot of Democrats, or active Democrat areas?
I mean, there are pockets kind of everywhere. Salina has a good group there. Riley County, Manhattan. Where am I?
It's not, I.
Wichita has some. Wichita's good. Where all of my cities are. What is between Kansas City and Wichita? Emporia. Emporia has a great group. In Dodge City, there's Democrats out there.
There's a few.
So in Smith County, there is a House candidate out there. His name is Mark, and I can't pronounce his last name. He is active in the community. So there are lots of Democrats popping up, having conversations. I've been in Franklin County, Anderson County, Lloyd. So you see like Democrats in there. Democracy Fest, which is a group of like the state party has been going to different parts of the state, kind of like a whistle stop tour. And they were in Liberal. I was not in Liberal, but I think they had a good showing there. We had over 50 people in Salina yesterday. I don't know where else they've been.
They've been in Colby, Oberlin.
Yeah, Colby.
Colby.
That's right.
Yes.
Big
I
crowd in
think they had a
Colby.
big. Yeah, there was a big event in Oberlin. I did not go. It was like the day after we had been on the floor and we didn't leave until 2:00, or we finished at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be in Oberlin at 9:00 the next morning, and that was not going to happen. So, I don't know. I'm headed out to Colby. Like, I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm not quite sure how well this works. But so I have a question about government, like the Kansas government's regulation of what companies are contracted under the CDDO waiver or CDDO program. Do you know what that acronym stands for? I pulled it up.
Yes, you'll have to do it. Susan's going to tell. Okay.
The like child development.
It's-
I don't think it's just child.
It's
Yeah, let me look up the
You know,
Are you talking about
CDO?
for the CDDO?
Yeah,
Is
for the
that
CDDO,
means?
yeah.
Yeah, it's community developmental
not the community.
disorder.
Development.
Development, yes.
Yeah. So how does what branch of who regulates what companies are like contracted with the resources that they provide? And then there's different waivers, but like does that question make sense?
Sort of.
Yeah. So like
Maybe
for
give
example, under the IDD waiver, which is the intellectual development delayed waiver, there's like companies that provide like targeted case management, home-based services, and I'm wondering how do like obviously the contract companies they don't work directly for the government. How like what is the review process for like making sure those companies are like doing their jobs?
That's gonna come under the Bob Bethel Interim Committee.
Uh-huh.
Some of that oversight comes through that because there's Medicaid's involved.
Yeah.
But you've got KDHE is the one that's gonna go and do the licensing. So they've got us, if it's say it's a group home,
Yeah.
they have to go in and see that everything is up to code and
So KDH.
KDHE.
This Department of Health and Environment.
Alright.
And a lot of those, they will do RFPs. So the request for
funding, really,
proposal.
right?
Well, they put it out, so it's a request saying we're seeking people who want to do this business, and then they have kind of the guidelines of what Kansas is request, and then people will apply, and then they go through. So like KDHE will go through those.
And then parts of it is under KDADS,
Mhm.
Kansas Department of Adults with Disabilities.
Mhm.
So those two, those are on the administration kind of level. And they're the ones that put out the contracts, that put out the RFPs, for that. So then there's organizations. There is only maybe 2 or 3 organizations in the state that all they do is provide targeted case management.
Mhm.
Part of the reason for that, well, not part, the biggest reason for that is because Medicaid doesn't pay for very much of that, and the state's not paying for very much of that. And it's just the code, there's issues with the code. So the new community support waiver just got approved for Kansas. And so there, the thought now, the list, right? The IDD list, that's
Yeah, yeah.
over 5,000 people are on it, right? So in order to get on the list, you had to have said that you wanted all, oh gosh, what is there, 14 different kind of services that you want under that. Well, not all of them, not everybody wanted all those services, but you say yes to get on the dang list, right? So now with this community support services waiver, it is going to make the distinction between people who are living in the community, and they're living on their own, living with family, they're working, all those things. But still require community-based kind of services. They'll be able to separate them out versus all of the group home, nursing home, all those folks. So they'll be able to separate that out. The thought is that the list is going to come down from that 5,000 to, it'll come down. I think the first slot, there's going to be like 500 slots, I think, right off the bat. And so, luck, there's going to be more targeted case management. I'll be going to the Bob Beffa committee meeting next month, and so those are some of the questions we're going to hear and we're going to ask. I mean, is that code going to go up so that we have more people that can take advantage of targeted case management and more have organizations? Like if you wanted to form your own company, organization, you could. But you got to be able to sustain yourself and make sure that the code, bills well enough for you to, pay for your office workers,
So is that like a yearly, they have to reapply to be continued to the council contract? When is it reviewed?
That's a good question. What are they?
The managed care.
The managed care, the MCOs,
MCOs.
they've got a contract. It's a 3-year contract.
Yeah, that's what, they would probably at least one, it could be up to 3, it could be,
Could be 5.
it
Yeah.
could be 5.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So what we don't have is a good system of calling them out.
mhm.
When there are issues in group homes in particular, we don't have a good system of that, like we have on the kids side. Because there's a whole agency that all they do is really, field complaints.
Yeah.
We don't really have that on the adult side.
Is there a plan to develop it?
No, there isn't. So it means that we have to hear more from people about there's issues with that. Like I have constituents that'll call me and say, this is going on at a group home and my daughter's there, my son is there, or I live there, kind of deal. And then I can kind of bump it up, into those other agencies. But
And that's a lot of times that oversight, it gets expanded because we're hearing those issues from constituents or reimbursement, all of those. And then we elevate it, which there should be a better process than that because not everyone knows to
Doesn't
call
seem to
their
be, yeah.
representative or senator.
But I'll tell you, one thing that's really exciting are the self-advocacy groups. And there's 2 or 3 of those out there in Kansas. There's a very strong one in Lawrence that I really like working with. They are very good at being vocal and attending meetings and asking those kinds of questions.
What is that?
It's the self-advocacy coalition out of Lawrence. They just had their they have a conference every year. Hundreds of people with disabilities of various types all go to this conference, and they have a heck of a good time, but they also work on policy. They're really good, very strong.
Did we help with your question?
I'd be happy to
Yeah, we would.
spend more time with you. Yeah,
Is-
it's quite
Yeah, go ahead,
complicated.
G.
Is there a differentiation between rest homes or nursing homes and?
Yes.
and what
Yeah,
you're-
because you have ombudsman, you have the state ombudsman that helps with the nursing homes. But we don't really have one for group homes, for adult group homes. It comes up at the Bob Bethel meeting. People will come and talk about, hey, we don't really have a stronger voice. We don't have an office that we can kind of go to. We do need that.
Is there something that the state can do to come up with some solutions for the shortfalls of cutting people off of their food stamps and their assistance, cash assistance? Because we're talking about children and foster youth. When they turn 18, they don't have parents to go home to, and they don't have. So is there like a continuum of services that as state legislators we can provide, or is there anything that we can do?
I mean, I think we need to advocate for that. So the State Finance Council, we approved the money for SNAP recently, but it's $20 million, right? Is what we're having to do. And my colleagues on the State Finance Council are like, do we want to continue doing this? This is a big cut. And I was like, this is feeding children. So if we do not fund this, we will have children who are going hungry and then all of these other issues. So we have to continue talking about that, because as they are looking at a budget, which we still do need to rein in our budget, and I think especially as our COVID dollars are escaping, but they find a lot of pet projects to put money in, whereas I think, and I speak for the two over here, we're like, okay, how do we do these preventative wraparound services that we know are lifting people up and helping them? And that is not always the case
Okay.
with those. So.
Yeah, the foster care kids, they've got a little cushion because you can actually continue in foster care services. They have to agree to it. Once they turn 18, they can stay on for, I think, until they're
I think it's
21 or 22.
21.
And so there's some things that they can continue to receive, but they have to say okay to it. A lot of times kids are like, I'm out of here,
Just like our own kids, right?
Yeah,
I'm 18,
I'm
you
going,
can't tell me what
see
to
ya.
do.
I
That's
would
right.
say a lot of the other groups, who, like harvesters and a lot of these community, the list of people, as we were looking at, okay, we have to fund these things, it was huge of the people. And they're like, we cannot fill this gap. Even what we are doing in the expansion of how we're offering services, we do not fill this void. And so they were also helping with those conversations.
Okay.
And I will say this, it's going to be another reason why you want to vote for her.
Yeah.
or Diana, is Hawkins, who is running for insurance commissioner too. He, at the beginning, well, even prior to last session, was already saying he was going to cut $20 million off the budget. Where are you going to cut it from?
Yeah.
When you know that your budget, a big chunk of your budget is social services.
Mm.
So where are you going to find that 20 million? And he found it. And now this is the fallout. And not only is the state doing it, a lot of other states are doing it, but now we have the feds doing the same thing.
Mm.
So it's a double whammy. And so now we have people that are way falling between the cracks now. And, they're not getting subsidies that they were getting just to be able to go through the affordable, through the marketplace and get insurance. They can't afford it.
Drop mine.
You had to drop yours. See, yeah, it's
It
crazy
was $1,200
expensive.
a month and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, it's crazy expensive.
There are a lot of federal cuts that the food inspection for one that is coming up now as an
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
And we got that a presentation from the Department of Ag. I went back and watched. It was from last year, early like March or April of 2025. And we saw all of the different programming from the Department of Agriculture that was going to be cut. And we're starting to see that now with employees that have been laid off, with funding cuts of actual programs that were food inspection. And the state, we can't supplant all of that funding. So we're underfunded in ag. A lot of research that we've been doing at universities and emergency management. We didn't, we put in some more from the state than we would have normally because we had federal funds there. But there are a number of things that are underfunded right now where if there is a problem, there's not going to be money there. Which is concerning, I think. But
That's scary concerning.
yeah,
How
yeah,
fast can we turn this around? Like if we, when we win,
Yeah.
all of us win every seat that we're running for, Democrats. How fast can we turn this around? The right Democrats, I guess, because I guess some are kind of whatever cuckoo. But like if it falls into place, how fast can we turn this around in the state of Kansas?
It's gonna take.
I mean, it's going to take a while. I mean, you look at the brown bag cuts, and then Governor Kelly. I mean, it's taken 8 years to turn a lot of that around. And I would say, like, even though we are not funding special ed in our schools, but we've gotten to like the base, like we're doing But again, I mean, next year I think the school funding formula is going to
Go into effect.
go. Well, we don't have one yet, but we will have a new one, and depending on who is in the governor's seat and how the Supreme Court is, those are factors that are going to determine whether we have constitutional school funding or a lot of these issues.
So right now we're hanging on vote no because the courts are kind of protecting somewhat of what we.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I will say our Supreme Court, and it is a mixture, and we can talk about the selection process. It is not lawyers who are picking our judges. It is people. It is a selection process, and they are from all corners of the state. So every congressional district is represented. There is an attorney and a non-attorney, and they put names and they go through, and you can actually watch this, the process, the questions as they are going through, interviewing the candidates. And Justice Larkin, last year she's our newest appointed Supreme Court Justice, and her speech talks about the rigor in which she had to go to, and she is the cream of the crop, like amazing. Like if you read her story and hear all of the accomplishments, and she talks about how hard that process was to go through this. And this year we just had 3 names that went to the governor for the Supreme Court. And you could watch those interviews as they were in front of this panel of 9 Kansans. There were 5 people in the state of Kansas that were watching it. Like you could look. So this is a very fair process. Why we have it is because of the Kansas triple play back, I think it was in the 60s. So you had a sitting governor who did not win a primary, who resigned. And then the lieutenant governor became governor. Then you had a Supreme Court justice. At the time, they were just, it was completely the governor picking. There was no merit selection, no one else. And they didn't go to a retention vote like ours. So Supreme Court justice, Chief Justice, also resigns. So then your governor, who resigned because he did not win his primary, became the Chief Justice. And so it's the Kansas triple play. So look it up. Fascinating.
Yeah.
That is why we have the merit-based process that we currently have, because of the backroom deals. So, yes, Lily.
I have maybe it's an insignificant question, but has anyone checked their sample ballot online?
I have not.
Well.
Okay.
You may be shocked when you open it because this constitutional amendment that they're asking us to vote on, you really need to see it. I printed mine out.
I will also, and I didn't finish with my thing on that. So our Supreme Court that we currently have in place have ruled against against Governor Brownback, saying that there were things that he was doing that were unconstitutional, and Governor Kelly saying that she also was doing things that were unconstitutional, which I think is what we want, because we do not want a partisan group. We want them to uphold the Constitution, and we do not want them to play politics. So that was where I was going, but we will look at that.
This is what you're gonna see on your ballot, and I'm not really certain. I always print out my sample ballot just for me, for years now I have, right? Because, just because. This entire legal page is about the constitutional amendment that we'll be voting on, and way down here in the corner, you get to mark yes or no. My question is, where in the poo-poo did this come from? Is this the current amendment
That is,
issued after the famous,
so no,
triple
this
play.
is the legislature, when we passed the bill to put a constitutional amendment, we have what is the ballot explainer, which would go to the voters. So, and that is, it is so important that is, so we were dealing with another constitutional amendment at 1:00 in the morning on the last day of session this year.
Uh-huh.
And our Senate president had an amendment to add another constitutional amendment to the ballot. And we were voting on an amendment, and I stood up and I said, what is like this? I mean, I figured it was bad, and I think after midnight is always the worst time. But that's when I stood up, because we did not have language, and I said, what are voters in Kansas going to see on their ballot if we approve this amendment? And he said, well, I don't know. I think it's this. I'm like, no. Like, if we're going to vote on something, we need to see the language that Kansans are going to vote on.
Didn't he say you have to trust me?
Yeah, and he did. You don't have to trust me. Like, no, and I was a pain in the butt, and I said, I will wait. Like, I know we're all tired, but if we're going to vote on this, every single one of us needs to see what we are going to tell Kansans that they should be voting on, and that language. So that was passed when we did the Constitution.
50% of it is lined through. Is
Yes.
redacted.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is, and it came through as a Senate concurrent resolution.
Yep.
What is the process for that? How does that differ process-wise in getting submitted by the Kansas Senate? The House also has a concurrent resolution process that I don't know if it's the same or not,
They are.
but okay.
So the Kansas Constitution outlines how we can make changes to the Kansas Constitution.
Okay.
And those have to come through a 2/3 majority vote in the House and the Senate. They can originate from the House or Senate. That's the House
it.
concurrent or Senate concurrent resolution.
From a member of Congress?
From a member of
member of
the House or the
state.
Senate.
Okay.
And those only go through the legislative body because they already require 2/3. The governor never can weigh in on a veto or anything like that. So they're supposed to be, if you look at the Constitution language, the title by which a proposition is submitted shall be specified in the concurrent resolution making the proposition and shall be a brief, non-technical statement. So we've had a lot of issues with these changes to the Constitution that have come up of late that are just extremely long, confusing, and also they leave a lot of leeway to the legislature. They move constitutional rights and powers into legislative powers. Our current amendment on there right now does that by allowing the legislature to make so many of the decisions about, like I said earlier, how, when, and partisan or nonpartisan for this. So we've seen a number of those that we've also been able to defeat. We had one on property taxes that basically was just gonna say the legislature can do more on it now, but we didn't know what it was or what. So,
So they're actually, these constitutional amendments are taking away your right
yeah,
of being able to change the Constitution. And instead of a 2/3 majority, it would be a simple majority of the legislature.
Yeah.
That would have the ability.
but it did go through, I mean, they go through the committee process just like a bill does.
They do.
Yeah,
It
so,
does.
so there is, I mean,
It's just that
usually, they're supposed to. There are ways that you
There.
can obviously go around that. This one came through the committee and went through the floor and everything. We tried to move it up, in the House, you probably did as well, to be on the general election ballot instead of the primary. We tried to make it slightly better, but this is what we ended up with because, of the 2/3 majority that both the House and Senate has.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the reason why it looks like that is that for a constitutional amendment, the language on the ballot has to say first what the existing text that is going to be removed is. That's the
Well-
part that strikes out.
Thank you.
And
That's
then-
what I was asking. Is
Yeah.
this the existing text of the current
that
amendment?
should be
No,
the part that's lined.
The part that's striked
Yeah,
out
strike
through.
is the part that is the current language that they're wanting to change.
Okay,
And
But there
then-
should be an explainer
There
as well.
should be the explainer.
well, they're tiny bit, they're these itty bitty
Yeah.
little paragraphs up here, and they don't tell me as a voter where this is coming from.
Yeah, it's intentional. I mean, that's
Yeah.
intentional.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
but
It should be,
That's
it
what
should be
I'm
better
asking.
than what it is, but this is, I think, a tricky one. I think this one was designed to confuse people, and a lot of the advertising that you're seeing, that I'm seeing about, oh, we don't want, politicians choosing our judges, I think it makes you think, but, in all reality, we don't want our judges to be politicians.
well, agreed, but I just think it's important I'm a registered Democrat, obviously, but this is going to be on everyone's
Yes,
ballot,
right.
every Kansas ballot. And I can remember as a much younger voter, the first time I was confronted with a ballot that had, do you want to retain Judge so-and-so, yes or no? And it was like 3 pages long, and I was,
Uh-huh,
what are they talking about?
uh-huh.
If I were a new registrant or newer voter and not familiar with the democratic process, lowercase d, in the state of Kansas, I would be aghast. I would be appalled. I would be standing there at that voting booth going, what is this? You know, and probably not even vote on it.
Yeah, I bet
That's
there'll be a
the
lot of people,
result.
and we'll know, you see the undervotes. I
Yeah,
mean,
you'll see under
we'll know
votes
if
to see-
people voted for a candidate, and then did not vote on the amendment, or, for those who are unaffiliated, all they'll have is the amendment on there.
And
then they'll be like-
commissioners and county commissioners.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, we do have county
Yes.
commissioner primary, that's true, yep.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say is that if you're getting an unaffiliated ballot, the first page will be just the 3 county commissioner races and the rest will be blank. And then the amendment will be on the back side. So make sure that you flip it over and do the back side as well.
And just to, several people do not realize that if you are unaffiliated on election day, you could go and affiliate with a party, either a Republican or a Democrat. If you're registered one or the other, you cannot. But unaffiliated, because a lot of people don't even realize that they have something that they can vote on.
Yeah,
That's right.
and the reason they put it on the primary is because fewer people vote in the primary than they do in the general election,
Oh,
and that's on purpose also.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I've been
There's
knocking
lower
a lot of
turnout.
doors and people are saying, well, we weren't planning on, we wouldn't have voted the general election, probably at the primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. This is
Yeah,
not,
I
going-
have
this is
a
not going to be on the
postcard
general
going out
election.
to everyone in Senate District 21, all registered voters, talking about the amendment. And I don't tell you how to vote.
No,
Did
but
you tell us how you voted? Or how you're gonna vote?
I don't. I also talked about prescription drug prices.
Oh, by the way.
You really couldn't get the 2/3, you couldn't overcome the 2/3 in the,
It was by one vote. We had somebody, I mean, we watched it happen. We had the votes, it was failing. Phone calls were made,
Yeah.
votes were changed.
Yeah.
really?
Yes,
And
promises
that's-
were made.
It
Was that
was,
the one where they claimed Trump was calling?
yeah.
Was it that
Actually, Trump
There
was
a number,
calling.
yeah, I mean, there.
Trump was
it
actually
gets-
calling
yeah.
House and Senate members. And I had senators who said, I don't agree with this, but I had to vote this way. And they were like, I really wish we had like the federal model. And I'm like, okay, I like our current process, but you actually could have gotten on the ballot the federal model for Kansas as opposed to this Wild
Yes.
West
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, and so when votes are close like that another thing that requires 2/3 is a veto override. We go on what's called a call of the House, and any member can call a call of the House, but you have to have a show of, is it 10 or 15 now? Not saying
To call the house or to?
10 mans.
We have 10
Um,
in the Senate.
And,
15 of us. 15.
one of them we made 15 and one of them we made 10, and I don't know, I'm confusing them, but either way,
Oh, no, I was
you can be, we have to stay in our seats. The sergeant at arms locks down the doors and we can't move.
You
go
cannot
anywhere.
get
You
out
can't
of your
even-
seat.
you can't even do
it's, we are sitting there sometimes for an hour, hours waiting for somebody to flip their vote. So they have,
And they
you can't-
usually
so they have phone
ask-
calls. They'll be looking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's very tense.
They
in
also, there is normally a missing member from the
Yes.
Senate or the House that
A
they
rabbit.
can't find. We call them a rabbit because they're normally hiding somewhere. And that person, they know where they're voting and they're trying to flip other votes. And then all of a sudden, the person who is the rabbit shows up and you know that they
And then
got
they
their
call
votes.
ends and they pass it.
They need like, if we're at 52 and they need 53, the rabbit comes in and
Yeah. So
Were
gets their 50.
it's a
Any
very
moderate, any
eventful.
moderate Republicans?
Yeah, that's who usually are the ones holding out.
But
they
didn't come through.
we had 5 no Republican votes. That's how many we needed in the House, and then one switched, and then the rabbit came in and it was over. So it was a very disappointing day, but that's how that works, and that's.
It's like when the redistricting was going through and the Republicans said, no, we don't want the redistricting. There were 7 of them. Every one of them lost their committee members.
Yeah.
And they've got primary now.
And they
Yeah.
have-
They've been primary.
That was their punishment.
And they normally do this so like you're hungry,
Yeah.
you can't. Well, we can't have food in the Senate. Like the House can at least have
Yeah,
like
but
food
we have our
in
snack
our
drawers.
drawers. But like they try to there's sleep deprivation, there's food deprivation. If you have to go to the bathroom, you have to stand up and ask, can
Yeah.
you be excused?
Well, we can't even stand up to ask.
We can't stand up, but you have to just
we have
shout
to
out,
whack. Yeah, you
Have
can
you
no,
ever
no.
been to the bathroom?
Yeah,
to go to the bathroom.
Yeah,
there's only a certain number that they'll let go at one time.
right.
Not everybody
It's
is
not
allowed
as
to
big a
get
deal
up
if
and
you've
go.
already voted, but it is a part of it. This is a part of it, and
Like being in school.
yeah. But that's how they get stuff through. Because some things that we thought we were going to stop,
Yeah.
did not get stopped.
They threaten, they make threats to their members.
I was
All the
at
time.
Second Saturday yesterday at the Sylvester Powell
Uh-huh.
Community Center, and Jen from Skoog's campaign, she's running for lieutenant governor. She said that she's going to, her and Kurt are going to go to their constituents and get them riled up about, a bill and stuff. And then,
The question that I asked?
yes,
Yeah.
go ahead, Georgia.
Oh, no, I just asked her, I said, let's say that it stays the same as far as how many Republicans and how many Democrats. Let's say nothing gets flipped. What are you gonna do differently than Governor Kelly to stop the supermajority from doing whatever they want? Because if that happens, it doesn't really matter who the governor is, right? So, and their idea, she said that they were not gonna spend a lot of time in Topeka, that they were gonna go to western Kansas and talk to people, to have them call their senators to make them, or representatives to make them change. And I'm just like, well, people already do that, they don't listen to them anyway, so why is that gonna be any different than
It won't
anything
be.
else?
Well, it does. I still think it really matters about the supermajority, regardless of a Republican or Democratic,
Yeah,
because
yes.
one,
You
we
get
can
more.
stop the constitutional amendments
Yeah.
if they don't have a supermajority, and two, if we, the more seats we pick up, the more seats we get on committees as well. So then,
Right.
because they have supermajorities in all the committees, and if we can get that line out, and a lot of Republicans are more likely to vote with us in committee and stop it from ever going to the floor.
Yep.
So it really, I mean, the governor's race is obviously extremely important, but that supermajority does
It-
matter,
it
even
is
if it's a
really
Republican
I
governor.
will say though, like in 2020, when I was elected leader and we had added more seats in the Senate, they actually, instead of giving us more chairs, they just shrunk committees.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you still have a stronger, but
Right.
like,
No.
as opposed to adding an additional person on everyone, we kept them the same. And like, so they do play games like that.
Yeah, but again, it's just like, if we can't change the supermajority, then.
Yeah, it's tough.
Also,
Governor
like,
Kelly did a good job, I think.
I had some folks, Republicans that I worked really well with, and they were no longer chairs because they didn't give enough money to their political party, and they got canned.
I will say, like,
They were
as
good
I
chairs.
Yeah, and as I've been traveling, a part of it, like, we don't have local newspapers. Like, people don't know what is going on. I've been doing a monthly interview with a radio, and they get it out to affiliates. Just like, this is what happens in the complex. No one knows. And then if they do have, like, not all legislators have town halls like this. And so when they do go to their once a quarter issue, they just tell whatever they want. And like no one does the work to figure out like what is actually going on.
Well, that was one of the big issues with cutting public radio. I mean, that was one of the few areas where some people in smaller towns got any news whatsoever.
Yeah, and the majority of the newspapers in Kansas are owned by, is it Murdoch or somebody? Yeah. And so what you see in there is what's regurgitated on Fox News is what
Yeah.
they end up seeing in their newspaper.
Right.
They don't see
Yeah.
anything different. Nothing at all.
We did get a little bit of funding for public broadcasting though, and from the state.
To Wichita.
No, that was the license plate bill that failed. There was a
Oh,
line
yeah,
item-
that's right.
There's a
Okay.
line item for public broadcasting in the budget that didn't.
Okay, yeah. I know we have a candidate in here. Do you want to pop up and say hello?
Yeah. Zach Hawkins, running for House District 30. So hoping to break the supermajority. Help you guys flip a seat. So
Can you describe your district? Others.
it's a weird shape.
Yeah, it is.
Dinah lives in it. So
I do live in it, and there's a Democratic primary, a three-way
Yeah.
primary.
It's
So
going on.
you're in House District 30.
So, it starts in Olathe on 135th Street, goes up Ridgeview, kind of along I-35, then goes into Lenexa, kind of, which way is that? Western. Yeah, West Lenexa. So it's kind of like weird, I don't know, short shaped like a gun.
It is so
That's what I
weird.
tell people, but I usually just show people the map and try not to describe it. But anything in Lenexa, West Lenexa, north of K10 is going to be District 30. So.
It would be a gerrymandered map.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
is.
so.
Yeah.
So when Brandon held the seat, they basically cut him out of it and then gave the other half to Laura Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Superintendent
cut
Williams.
Brandon out and cut
So-
Laura Williams in, and then drew this little so.
And
That's 7.
Brandon's looks like a 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
part of mine. They took part of mine, made mine 23, 5% bluer to take it out to put Republicans into Brandon's district.
So you got the good,
Yeah.
What's that?
you got the good part of Brandon's?
That was bad part.
It's all.
It's like
got the ghost town,
it's,
in the industrial part of Lenexa
Yeah.
is in.
Yeah, so there's like two little
So no one
pockets.
lives there.
Yeah, there's like the Olathe pocket, and then there's a giant business park, and then another like little Lenexa neighborhood, which used to be Brandon's, and then another business park, and then like really suburban Western Lenexa. Wow.
Like
Ghost
suburban
precinct.
Western Lenexa.
But it's a very competitive district. The
Yours is
incumbent
in
won by
30,
5%.
right? 30?
Pardon?
You're in 30. You're in
30
like
election.
I'm sorry, I can't hear very.
You're in House District 30, right?
30, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's in the, like, inside the 435 loop of,
Well,
I'm on
we,
the outside.
we talked the first time you were running around.
Thanks for
All
coming,
right.
everybody.
Yes.
Good to see everyone. Next month, we'll know how everything shaped
know.
up in the primary, and
Can you believe it? It's gonna go by fast.
it is going
It's
so
going
fast.
I'm like,
It's
school's gonna be just
starting.
about-
Advanced voting starting next Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Advanced voting.
Saturday.
This is gonna be a location here, the library.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, early voting's here at the library for sure.
Yep. So.
This is really probably the most important thing, election, probably more important than a general election.
Pretty important.
It
It
is
is.
very important.
That is the
Amendment's
Supreme
very
Court.
important.
I'm voting in the
Alone.
generals for the record.
Me too. I'll be voting in both.
I'm gonna leave you out and see if you vote.
That is public information. Jeff has to vote, or he will be big
No.
Yeah, I got it. No, I'm not gonna mask. I'm just gonna gently prod.
No.
He needs to vote in the primary too.
He will. He will. So my son is gonna be home for
I
3
thought he was a
days,
lawyer.
and we're gonna go vote early together
Oh, good.
so that
Oh,
he
that's
can
cool.
vote. And then
We got
then
plans.
he's headed to Africa.
Hey, quick question. What's your
We've got
question?
3 weeks.
Oh my
He's
God.
going to Africa.
What part?
Are you kidding? I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Stand up. Yes, all candidates talk.
No, I just one of Zach, one of the other three. Doors here.
Oh, okay.
Tyler Holmes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Yes.
meet you all.
Yeah.
Hey, tell us.
Stand up.
Sorry, Tyler.
I
Tell,
Tell us who you are.
tell us who you are.
Sure, okay, fine. I'm a JoCo kid, Blue Valley North grad, KU undergrad, KU Law School. Practiced in state courts a little bit, and then I mostly spent my career working on legal aid projects or other projects to make the justice sector more accessible to folks. I imagine we're all similar in terms of what we're running on policy-wise, but yeah.
Where's your district?
It's the same as his, man.
Yeah, now you explain it.
Well, I almost intervened because what you got the Olathe part just fine. It's I describe it as an L, though it does grab the neighborhood right under in the 435 loop, but it goes 87th to 10 and then west to 7 essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna be at our meeting, Senate District 21 meeting, if you wanna hear him present.
Yes.
What day? July 23rd, 6:30 at the Joco Guns office. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna be in Manhattan. I'm amazed that I know where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I'm amazed too. Are you looking at the phone or something? I would just like
find
her on your phone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Did you write?